you're allowed to make up shit in comedy. Mm-hmm. But you're not allowed to make up you're not allowed to make up the things that allow you to say the rest of the things. The crowd has to feel like you have permission to be saying the things or speaking on the things that you're speaking on. Or you don't. You don't really have to. But you know what I'm saying. There's certain things that qualify you to say things. And if you decide to use those qualifications, they have to be real. All right. Welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson. What's this, episode 79? 80?
80, baby.
Yeah. It's a milestone. Episode 80. This is audio only, you know. It's a transitional period. And let's get right into it. I think the elephant in the room is Russell Brand accused of RuPaul and SA and abuse. Wait a minute. Yeah. So, is that shocking to anyone? I don't know him. You know, but I'm just always suspicious of the witchy guys. You know? The cultish people. You know what I mean? The people that are, they're you know what I mean. They 50, they still in a rock band, and they be, or am I mixing him up with somebody? Is he the one? No, I'm mixing him up with Jared Leto, where he's got like a band and a cult. They're
not that dissimilar, Brian.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It's a type. It's the same. The Ezra Miller, was it?
Yeah, Ezra Miller.
It's like it's a type. It's a very specific type of cult leader type white guy that they just give off those vibes, and it doesn't always mean like we touched on this with the Mr. Beast episode, right? It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but some people give off vibes that you can't quite put your finger on why you don't necessarily trust them. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. I always thought he was particular. He would say some clever shit from time to time, and that's all I really knew him for. He was just like a British guy that would say some clever shit every now and then. So most of the time when you hear accusations that are decades old and so on and so forth, I'm always I approach it with an eyebrow up, but. When I read what one of the accused, when I read how she was talking about it, I felt it. I was like, oh, that's coming from, like, she just sounded way more convincing to me just from her. There was passion behind what she was saying, And again, I'm not a human lie detector. But this woman, like the way she was saying, it's laughable that he would deny it. It's so obvious. It's an open secret. And he knew it was only a matter of time. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. And more people. Like, she sounded so positive. This wasn't giving me Amber Heard vibes. This wasn't giving me manipulation vibes. This lady was just coming from a sincere place of, I want to watch this motherfucker burn. You know what I mean? And
rightfully so.
Yeah, and it's about time. Like, that's the vibe she gave me. Now, I didn't hear her say these things. I just read them. So maybe I was putting my own shit on it by, the voice I put in my head, because I don't know what she sounds like. But it just felt, the thing she was saying, the tone of what she was saying, it just sounded more believable than what the fuck he said. Because his defense was kind of like, come on, guys, you know me. And
yeah.
I don't know. And she was, she sounded like somebody that was like revenge, And so this is a I want to say this is a rare case where I'm not where I don't feel like I have to wait for all the facts to come in. Like gun to my head today, if I'm on the jury, I'm leaning guilty.
Well, does it make a difference that it is multiple women?
Because I don't know, what the other women have said. But yeah, that makes a huge difference. Because look, it's the same reason why I've always, I don't want to use the word defended, but I've never bought into the Michael Jackson rapes children thing. He's a weirdo. He was definitely sleeping with children in his bed, but was he? I don't think he was molesting them, right? And the reason that is because, again, when someone has been powerful for a long time and their vice, their proclivities is gross shit like this, like abusing people, there's always a trail of bodies, and so the reason I never bought into the Michael Jackson thing was because it seems like someone that was an abuser, as long as he was accused of being, it seemed like it would be hundreds of people, you know what I mean? Like from all around the world, all different countries and everything. Because that's usually what happens, right? It's like somebody like a Bill Cosby or something. It's like one person and then two people, and then next it's 40 people. You know what I mean? Or R. Kelly, it's one person, then two people, then 9 people, then 12 people. It's usually not like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like I'm not saying somebody can't rape one time or somebody can't abuse one person, but a serial abuser, like somebody that's like, what I'm saying is very rarely does someone abuse one person and then stop. If they're a serial abuser, they're not gonna abuse 2 kids in 1985 and then no more kids.
Right. It's not like a robbery gone wrong where somebody murders somebody or a crime of passion. It's like a pattern of abuse that they facilitate over the course of a long period of time.
Right, exactly. And so for me, because I know it's fucked up to say, it's easier for me to believe 3 women than it is for me to believe 1 woman. And I know that's not what women want to hear. They want you to be like, nah, believe. And I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I'm trying to grow with it, but that's just rhetorical, man. This is anybody. The more people that come out, the more believable it is.
Yeah.
I don't apologize for thinking this way. It's like one person. It's just like if I put it again like this. If 5 of Johnny Depp's ex-girlfriends come out and was like, oh yeah, he did all that shit to me too, that would have been a whole different thing.
Right.
Then suspicious ass, so my point is, it's like, oh yeah, of course. And I guarantee, and look, my prediction is it's going to be a lot more women than just a few. I think right now it's up to 3 women.
I think it's 5 women right now.
Okay, yeah. And listen, two days ago it was 1 person. Or 3 days ago, it was 1 woman. And now it's 5. Yeah, that is coming. Because, again, that's who you are. Like, you behave this way, my guy. And so it's like, I don't, I'm always suspicious of the guys that act like they have all the answers. I don't know. I'm not overly familiar with Russell Brand, but I don't remember ever hearing him go, I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know. Like, you hear Bill Burr go, I don't know. I'm fucking stupid. Right? Like, people that never humble themselves. I don't know. I'm searching for it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not caught off guard by this. I didn't hear this news and go, Russell Brand? Mm-hmm. Really? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like, I knew he was a creep this whole time. I just never really fucked with him because, it didn't speak to me. I heard him say some shit. I agree with some clever things, like I said, but whatever. I'm not shocked at all.
He's a clever guy. He's charismatic. There's a reason why his YouTube channel was so popular, why his podcast is so popular.
Facts.
But, He was kind of known as a creep.
I mean, my guy, you sent the BBC limo, and I know we're talking about sex, but in this case, BBC's not big black cock, listeners. It's the British Broadcasting Channel, who Russell Brand used to have a show for a long time. But the BBC, one of the girls says he was sending the BBC's car to pick her up from school and drop her off at his house.
When she was 16.
When she was 16. Which, you know, I don't think that's illegal over there. I think 16 is the age. Am I wrong? In England?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think 16 is the age of consent over there. And because she's also calling for, I think I read, what is it called? Staggered age of consent, which I think we kind of...
Age of consent across the whole of UK is 16, according to Sky
Okay,
News.
right. So, and this is the problem that I was talking about over here with all these other cases is you know, she's calling for a staggered age of consent, which I think means, I think we kind of have that de facto over here, or at least in a lot of states, but I think basically meaning even if you're of the age of consent, there still has to be, you have to be close enough in age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's certain states. I mean, it kind of goes like the opposite direction in the U.S. There's certain states where if one person is above the age of consent and one person is below the age of consent, then it's still legal as long as they're within a certain age range. So let's say the age of consent is 18 in a state, and one of the people engaging in sexual activity is 17. If the other person is within, let's say, 2 years, so it's a 17 and a 19-year-old, that's not considered statutory rape because they're within a certain age range.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I agree with that because I've seen certain situations where people have been like dating all throughout high school or something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then they break up or the parents get yeah, I've seen shit like that go down. So
it's often called Romeo and Juliet laws, I think.
Yeah. But I ain't against it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I don't know.
He was 30 at the time, though. So, you know, a 30-year-old, quote unquote, dating a 16-year-old, even if it's legal, is pretty hinky.
Yeah, you know what's wild is she said her mama did everything to try to stop her. Because that would have been my first guess is, yo, where your mama at? You know, like where your father at? Because that's really the question. It's like, hold on,
that's the real question.
That's the real question. Because ain't no motherfucking way a 30-year-old gonna be busting down my 16-year-old daughter. Ain't no way. I'm not letting it go down. That's one of those where you could catch a charge. That's one of those where you'd be justified. But you know what? What's so funny is, damn, I hate that this is audio only because I want to play this clip of this father caught his 16-year-old daughter sending nudes to a grown man.
Well, I can put the video clip in the YouTube.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. And have you seen this? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So a father caught his 16-year-old daughter sending nudes to a grown man. He called the police. Right?
Oh, they never call the police. Call the FBI.
Yeah, and so the police show up, and it would infuriate you. The police show up. They take like hours to come, right? Because it's not an emergency. They finally show up, and he walks outside and explains to them what happened, and the female cop goes, "Oh, you know she could be charged with distributing child pornography." And he was like, she's not distributing child pornography. She was manipulated by a grown-ass man into sending him nudes. She was like, and the cop goes, but she took the pictures, right? He's like, well, of course she did. Oh, then she's creating child pornography. It's against the law. And he was like, have a good evening, and just walked in, which is like, I felt like the way he said it, I felt it in my soul because he knew that there was no more point in talking to these people because it would have just led to him getting arrested. Because that's what that bitch was looking for smoke. Like, imagine saying that to a father. Because listen, even though there are states, well, let's do we got to pause to play the clip? Let's play it real quick.
You want me to play it right now, or you want me? I'll just drop it in.
Well, yeah. Just find it right now.
Let me play it so I can.
I want to hear your reaction to it, Rob.
Yeah. I'll find the video. I'm reading the transcript right now. Says could probably get charged. So my first question is, can an 11-year-old actually be charged with child pornography in Columbus, Ohio? That's fucking insane.
There are antiquated, I don't know about Ohio, but there are some states where there are antiquated laws where a child can technically be charged. And there are places where it's happened recently where a child can technically be charged with distributing child pornography. Like, say your nudes get passed around the school or something like that.
Right.
It's happened in a few cases in the last couple of years. But there are very few DAs with the lack of morals and the balls to actually charge a child with producing their own, like, you're taking pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. There are very few DAs that got the balls to bring that case. I mean, imagine you do. So my point is, yes, technically there are places where you could be charged, but you got to be the most. Okay, yeah, let's play that.
She's already grunting as she climbs the fucking stairs.
Yeah, they're casually talking about some bullshit too.
So they called at 6 and they come bang on the door at midnight.
Is there a better pop than cream soda?
Pop?
Yeah. No.
There's way better pop than cream soda, you dumb bitch.
Oh, you know what? I'm just not Sprite. I haven't been Sprite since I was like a kid. It's weird that you say that.
Notice they don't even announce themselves.
Oh, you know, I lied to you.
Bang on the door and then step back. They don't say police.
They drink the bottle of Sprite and traffic burp.
So unprofessional. You know they're the piece of shit cops that get sent out at midnight.
Hi.
Yeah, she's in bed now. She's already asleep.
Well, it still happened though, right?
Yeah. I just the whole point. I just wanted you guys to come over and talk to her. I mean, I just want her to realize what this was. I mean, in reality, there's not much you guys probably can do about it, is there?
I mean, she could probably get charged with child porn.
Who, she can?
Mm-hmm.
She's 11 years old.
She's creating it, right?
She's 11 years old.
Doesn't matter. She's still making porn.
No, she's not. She's being manipulated by a grown-ass adult on the
internet.
Is
she taking pictures though?
You guys have a nice evening.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Are you serious? Have a nice evening.
Woo! I felt that, bro.
Oh man,
because that was let me close the door before I hurt one of you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Because he's one of those dudes was like, yo, if it's up, then it's stuck. You feel me? Like he was like, this can't go nowhere but up, and I felt that in my spirit. Like, what are you talking about, bitch? Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself, you dumb bitch. That's why her partner wasn't saying nothing,
dude.
Because he was probably sitting over there like, okay, this whole video is just you having shitty opinions. There's no pop better than cream soda. You start out with that. You know what I mean? There's no soda better than cream soda. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Coca-Cola, the original Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it. Are you guys serious? They stopped. It's illegal to make actual root beer from actual roots. I think the sassafras roots, because it felt like Molly. Cream soda ain't even, well, cream soda's good. But I mean, are you kidding me? So you start out with that. And now this father who's called you because a grown man solicited nude pictures from his 11-year-old daughter, now you're going to tell him that she could be charged. First of all, how do you even know that, bitch? Why is that why is that your first reaction? Why is that information right there with it? Why are you right there with it? Like, it's right on the surface for you to pull from. She didn't have to go, or think about it. She didn't walk away. It was readily available. Like she had it in the chamber. Man, what a piece of shit.
She was goading him. Like, she wanted this dad to take a swing. Like, that's what she wanted.
Yeah. And the thing is, imagine if he didn't have a Ring camera, it wouldn't have gone viral.
Correct.
And it wouldn't be being investigated.
Correct.
You know, and the wild shit is like, I don't know if that's enough for her to get thrown off the force or reprimanded or whatever, but it's like, bruh, hey, dear cops, I know it's a few cops that listen to my podcast. These are the kind of motherfuckers y'all got to get up out of there. These are the kind of motherfuckers y'all got to get up out of there. These are the kind of people, this is the kind of shit that erodes trust in the community. You like, cause there's cops out there that's like, I'm gonna defend the cop no matter what. You gotta cut that shit out. We gotta at least agree on this bitch got to go. This bitch got to go. Y'all hear me? No perfect, because listen, even if that's true, she's lacking. What's the word? It's not. It's like the law enforcement equivalent of bedside manner. You know, it's like professional something.
Tact. It's just tact.
Yeah, it's like
discretion.
It's like, bitch, your job is to show up, take the report, assure the father that you do everything in your power to get to the bottom of things, and get the fuck out of there. What are you talking about? She could be charged. What are you talking about?
So I'm about to do a little mini audit the audit on this guy. You know how I love audit the audit.
Okay, yeah.
The dad gets an A-. The dad gets an A-, and the reason why he has an A- is because he shouldn't have called the cops in the first place.
Agreed.
The reason why he gets an A is because as soon as he saw that she was going to be of zero help, he said, all right, have a good night. Actually, you know, he's also going to get, the other reason why we'd have a minus on there is because he stepped out onto the porch. He should have talked to him through the door.
Yeah, and I'm gonna also give him a B+. I see where you're going there, but my also logic is he would have got the A- if he had gone in the house when he first said, all right, good night. But he went back out and was like, are you serious? See, right there, you opened yourself up, because you just got more aggressive, which is what she was looking for.
Yeah. She wanted him to escalate.
Right. Now, so I give him a B+ because he almost bit the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I also understand. You know, now the cops get a fucking F. Actually, I can't give him an F because F would have been like if they'd shot him.
D-.
Yeah, D-. Yeah, I give the cops a D-. They didn't do any unnecessary violence, but goddamn if that wasn't one of the worst interactions I've seen with a police officer.
She gets a D- for being a cunt, and her partner gets a D- for being a pussy bitch.
How should the partner have reacted?
The partner should have stepped in and been like, "Whoa, look, hold on, let me
step. Come over here, bitch. Come here." Yeah. But you know what? He might have been the junior officer in that situation.
That's very maybe that's why he didn't speak up when she said cream soda was the best soda.
No, he did say. I think he responded to her when they. First of all, they shouldn't have been having that conversation in front of somebody's door.
It's so weird.
It's a strange thing. It's like, don't y'all notice it's Ring cameras and shit nowadays? Like, be professional. Be professional, goddammit.
If you're a cop, you should just always assume you're being filmed. I mean, if you're a citizen, you should always assume that you're being filmed, but especially if you're a cop, man.
But also, again, guys, if it's something of this nature, you call the FBI. The local police are not. What am I trying to say?
Well, they don't take the crime seriously, and they're also, a beat cop is not the kind of cop that they send out on one of these calls is not informed enough, or honestly often intelligent enough, or has the right temperament to handle something of this nature. This is your 11-year-old daughter who's being groomed. Yeah, and the thing is, cops, like beat cops they respond to crimes that are in progress or crimes that have recently been committed. Yeah. Because if they don't send a detective, they don't give a fuck. Like if you call the cops and report a crime of this nature and they send a beat cop, they don't give a fuck. 6 hours later.
Yeah, like if you get a call back from if the FBI respond, you're talking to an investigator.
Yes.
If the cops respond by sending a local, like a beat cop to your house over something like this, they don't give a shit. Like if cops respond to shit with a crime scene, yeah, like it's got to be blood or a victim or something. Like the shit had to have happened here. If you talk about, oh wait a minute, it's more to it. Like there's nothing here to shoot or scare. Yeah, you called the wrong people, bro. Nah. So, but anyway, the whole reason we brought all that up is because, like I said, it's the way that law enforcement responds to sex crimes varies tremendously from place to place, from time to time. Yeah, so is Russell Brand a Cree? Who knows? Now, I see in the Trello here we have. Okay, should we do the email or this Hasan Minhaj thing? So what's funny is I just found out about this. When you can barely find a minute to grab drinks with the guys, let alone cook a full meal, it's time to let Factor do the heavy lifting. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, helps you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals sent straight to your door. They're always fresh, never frozen. Just heat them up for 2 minutes and get on with your busy day. With over 34 options to choose from each week, there's always something new to love. My personal favorite meal is the bulgogi marinated chicken bowls with Korean coleslaw. Shit is bussin', okay? It's better than my mama makes. Don't tell her I said it. Now, whether you vegan, vegetarian, counting calories, or keto, Factor helps you save time and eat well. Head to factormeals.com/BS50 and use code BS50 to get 50% off. That's code BS50 at factormeals.com/BS50 to get 50% off.
Hasan Minhaj.
I just found out. I just heard about this. I was like, wait, what is it? This is a watch? No, that's not a watch. It's just a description that says 12 feet.
Click the link.
Okay. Wow. The New Yorker. Yo, who did he piss off, bro? Because I was talking about this the other day where I was talking with the homie about what's wrong with this if it's true, right? Because we all
we should explain for people who may not have seen the article what happened.
So people don't know Hasan Minhaj, and he's the homie. He's the comedy homie. I've known him for a while now. Very brilliant, tremendous work ethic. This guy, and I always admired that about him. So this is real shocking to me. I mean, he just interviewed Obama. You feel me? So it's just wild. This is wild. It's like finding out that Rachel Maddow's not a lesbian or something. You know what I mean? It's like the last thing I expect. So the comedian Hasan Minhaj, he's got a lot of very I'd say he's sort of mastered the art of like mixing the one-man show with the stand-up special type deal. Yeah. And in a lot of his stand-up specials, it's a whole story thread type deal. And it's come out recently that he straight up made up a lot of the basis for some of those stories. And there's a lot of things that he says happened in these storytelling stand-ups that didn't actually happen. And he's already admitted to this, I think. I think he's justified it in a way. And here's the thing. I was talking to the homie the other day, like, why isn't this okay? Because lots of stand-ups embellish or straight up just lie and add shit or make shit up. Recently, I was on, when I did That's My Time with David Letterman, he was interviewing me. He asked me, if the story I was saying was true, right? And the thing is, and I explained to him, like, because I was a foster kid, I actually have like 12 mothers. You know, and so I just say my grandma instead of explaining that I'm a foster kid to the audience. But all those things happened, right? And here's the thing, even if those things didn't happen, here's the difference between a comic embellishing a story for comedic effect and what Hasan is being accused of. And it's that you're allowed to make up shit in comedy. But you're not allowed to make up you're not allowed to make up the things that allow you to say the rest of the things. Right? So in other words, you see a comic go on stage and they say faggot or they say nigga or they're talking harshly about one community or the other, and they go, "It's fine, I'm gay. I've been gay for 25 years." Blah 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 blah. Whoopty whoopty whoop. So then they say all this shit about the gay community, right? And then later on, you find out they're not gay. Well, that you can't lie about that because you know, especially now, it's always been the case. But you have to have permission. Like the crowd has to feel like you have permission to be saying the things or speaking on the things that you're speaking on. Or you don't. You don't really have to. But you know what I'm saying. There's certain things that qualify you to say things. And if you decide to use those qualifications, they have to be real.
Right.
You know, so you can't, like what I'm saying is you don't got to be gay to speak on gay shit, and you don't got to be black to speak on black people. But you can't be like, "Oh, it's okay, I'm half black, so I'm gonna say these things," and then it's not be true.
It's like stolen valor.
Exactly. It's almost like that. So it's like this stuff, like his whole first special, Prom King, it was cool. It was based on him, you know, asking a girl to the prom and her saying no because he was Indian, and then that didn't happen. You know what I mean? And then the second special was like, and I, you know, what's funny is I was on tour with him. You know, I wasn't on the whole tour, but I did some of the dates with him, and I was so blown away by the story. But it was, I mean, you've seen it. It was this whole thing where he weaved him, you know, trying to have a baby and mixing that with, you know, how he was exposing things on his show and it, you know, ended up clashing with the Saudi family, and then he got a white envelope and it had some strange powder in it, and he spilled it on his daughter, and then he, you know, and then his wife was like, "Don't you ever endanger our family," and then that didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like. And he says like he did receive the envelope with the white powder in it, but his daughter was never got on his door. But you know what I mean is it's like I don't know if this rises to the level of a whole think piece though. I mean, because they trying to do him like they did my man's his name escapes me right now, Steve
Renazizi?
Steve Renazizi. Because here's what I don't want to see.
Never forget, baby. Never forget Steve Renazizi. I can't believe you forgot Steve Renazizi.
So for those of y'all that don't know, Steve Renazizi was a comedian on the rise. He had a TV show and all this other stuff. And then it came out that previously he'd lied about being in the towers on 9/11. And no one's ever forget. He and this is what I don't want to see happen to Hasan. We can give him shit about this, but look, and I'm definitely gonna make fun of him the next time I see him. You know, but Steve Renazizi is the least forgiven comedian. And I would argue that he did the least damaging thing of any comedian that's gotten in trouble in my lifetime. But he's also like gotten the least amount of forgiveness. His career never recovered. Yeah. And every single time he posts anything about anything, someone brings it up. Yeah. I don't want this to happen to Hasan. He's not a bad guy. He fucked up. He was trying to make his stories better. And I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it. And I kind of feel, I normally don't like if it's somebody I know, I don't like to talk about the shit till I talk to them. You know?
Facts.
But, you know, this is out there and he's already responded. And I want to talk to him about it. But at the same time, it's like we aren't close enough where like if I called him right now, he'd want to talk about it. At least I don't think so.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So we'll wait. I'll see what's working with that. I'm gonna contact him and see what he got to say. But I'm sure he's tired of fucking talking about it.
I don't know him. I guess my question would be like, when I first heard this as just a comedy fan and not a comedian, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, comedians make up stories. He's doing kind of like a one-man show. A lot of one-man shows are just completely fictional, so who fucking cares, right? He's making a point. I think one of the things that people jumped on was the term emotional truth. Kind of sounds, it's like a Stephen Colbert truthiness type thing. But I don't know if is that a phrase that comedians use, or is that just something he came up with, or what?
What? Emotional truth?
The emotional truths. I've heard that term before, but not necessarily.
I've never heard a comic say it.
All right, then maybe that's.
Because listen, that's what this is really about, right? It's about to what length are you allowed to exaggerate?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If it's like if I was in the backseat of the car and I say I was driving the car, is that okay? If I say I was driving the car because it's a better story, is that all right?
I think that's what it gets to, is because obviously it definitely makes the story better.
Yeah, but if I wasn't even in the car, is that okay? If my entire joke is fabricated, is that all right?
I mean, the thing that comes to mind for me is less the Steve Rannazzisi thing and more the Jay Moore thing. What about Tracy Morgan?
Oh, he was telling someone else's story.
Yeah, and then there was a whole thing, the whole beef about whether he had been given permission. But I mean, once it came out that it didn't actually happen to him, there was never any point where he was trying to like lie and say that. He's like, no, it's just a bit. It's like it's better if he just wanted to do a Tracy Morgan voice, and that's what makes it funny. And so he had to be the one that was there for the story to make sense.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's a toughie, because that's the thing, is like, what things are you allowed to lie about in the service of art? Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think that's where the line draws. I think that if what you're making up is the justification for what you are saying, then that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, because a lot of my comedy is perceived and received a certain way because a lot of people know my story. So it would be wild for them to find out that story isn't true. You know what I mean? That I'm not a veteran, that I wasn't a foster kid, that I never lived in a homeless shelter. That would be crazy. Even though I don't talk about most of that stuff in my comedy at all. But it would be wild to find out that those things weren't true.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is always what's tricky here is the people that get canceled are usually the people that were misrepresenting who they are. Mm-hmm. Because your fans are, most of your fans are a fan of who you are more than they are of your work. They digest your work because of who you are. They relate to that person, or they think that person's interesting or compelling. And when they find out that you're something else, they feel betrayed. That's why a Louis C.K., who was telling us he was a weirdo this whole time, didn't lose any fans. He lost Hollywood support.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose any fans. And that's why somebody like that's why like a Chris D'Elia or somebody, got in, he fell off kind of, sort of, because he was like this straight edge guy who didn't drink or smoke or do drugs and never touched, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it also goes back to, like, to compare like the Steve Rannazzisi thing to this, like, he didn't do a bit about what it was like to be in the World Trade Center during the 9/11 attacks, he was just like, that was part of his personal story.
But I think if you take the Renazizi incident and you go, okay, yeah, but now let's say he does a one-man show.
Yeah.
And it's all based around the fact that he was in the Twin Towers on 9/11.
It'd be weird. It
would be very weird. That would be a different conversation.
Yes.
Right? In fact, I think that's worse. Right?
Possibly.
Because the lie was some dumb shit he was saying to try to be interesting on a podcast that, when people didn't know podcast was going to be what they are now. You know, and it was something he was saying so to be interesting at the Comedy Store was very hard to stand out without it being like a public thing. He was just lying about it. And he fessed up to the lie before it ever went public. He told people I was making that shit up because I was insecure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to put it in your work and base your whole piece of work off a falsehood, I don't know. And I don't know all the details of what they accuse. But for this to be a New Yorker article is crazy. This is like even, I mean, because I need to read. I mean, this is long as shit, though. Holy shit.
It's also not a very well written article, by the way.
Oh, from what? You mean the New Yorker rushed to publish? That's so crazy. No, but I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not mad at Hasan.
Sure.
Right? And obviously I'm biased because I do consider him a friend. You know, maybe not a close friend, but I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, I never fuck with old boy. I fuck with him.
Sure.
You know? And even though this feels weird to me, but I'm not like, burn him at the fucking stake. You know what I mean? And maybe I need to read this whole thing because I've only heard the gist of it because I heard this from comics before I ever read about it. Like somebody was literally like, yo, did you hear about Hasan? I'm like, whoa, because I thought it was the Wrestle Brand type stuff. I was like, no fucking way. And he's like, oh, no, he was lying. I was like, lying about what? Everything. I was like, oh, word? So then I had to go look it up, and I seen little bits and pieces. But yeah, who knows? Who knows how this is going to turn out? How do you feel about it, Rob? I keep talking about my feelings. Were you a big Hasan fan, and now you feel let down?
No, I wasn't a huge. I mean, I think he's very talented, and everybody says that he's very hardworking. So I did not begrudge him his success, which he's had a tremendous amount of success. My feeling was, this is a one-man show. I don't expect stuff in a one-man show to be, I don't expect it to be accurate. That being said, I can understand if you were a big Hasan Minhaj fan and part of the reason for your respect for him was that you had this image in your head of him having overcome all of these things. Maybe they're things that maybe you experienced in your own life and you felt a connection to him through that, to then find out that those things didn't actually happen to him. I could understand that being
like bro,
I could understand that bothering you.
Did you see Nanette?
I did see Nanette. Yeah.
Okay, now so how would you feel if you find out that Hannah Gadsby wasn't actually raped?
Right.
That's kind of what this is.
Yes.
Right? Does that it doesn't change anything for me because I never related to her like that.
Right.
But I can understand like the people that were like, finally someone like us with a story like this. I see how some of those people would feel some kind of way.
Yes, for sure. That's exactly what I'm saying.
To me, I don't know what I'm supposed to be upset about here. And I'm not saying that this is right, but I don't feel like these. And obviously, like I was hoping for an article that would like list all the things, but I mean, look, fuck all this. What I want to know is who did he piss off? Where they went back, because bro, you got to really think about this. The type of people like because it happened to Rogan, a couple years ago. It happened to it happens to several people. It's like out of the blue, someone will go back. Oh, happened to Shane Gillis, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody will go back and listen. Now, right or wrong, right? But for someone to go back and listen to everything you've done to find inconsistencies or find wrongdoings, that person has to have a grudge, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's not a regular. Because these things have been out for a while now, these specials. So so what I want to know, who did he upset? Where not only are people finding these things, but there's articles in major publications. Is the New Yorker a major? I mean, they be acting like they are.
Yeah, that's a major publication.
Okay, so if the New Yorker, and that's not the only publication, right? Hold on, let me see here.
There are other publications that talked about it, but really it all stems from this New Yorker article, which my understanding is that
CNN?
Yeah, but CNN's talking about the New Yorker article.
Yeah, I think I'm with Whoopi on this.
There's one more wrinkle to this that I think is important, which is apparently the way that they got started on this was he named someone specific as the informant that joined his the brother Eric guy. And so like he's used people's names. Like for instance, the woman that he claimed turned him down for prom. He I don't know if he does it in the special itself, but prior to that he had used like her full name. And so she was a little bit like bent out of shape about that. Like, if you're going to make up the reasons why I did it, just use a different name. If you're going to make up a story, don't put people's.
Yeah. Well.
Which I think is fair.
So she went to prom with him?
No. She didn't go to prom with him, but in his story, he says that she was essentially forbidden from accepting his invitation because her parents did not want her, or her parents did not want her dating a Muslim. And she says that's not at all what happened. I just wasn't.
Well, that's totally understandable. No, I'm kidding. No, she says that's not true.
And she says that's not true at all.
So what's the truth?
The truth is that she just wasn't into him. They were friends, and he wanted to go with her, and she didn't want to go with him. But it had nothing to do with him being Muslim or anything like that. But he uses that as like the jumping off point of to talk about anti-Muslim bigotry in the U.S. and everything, which is a totally valid thing to talk about, obviously, and makes perfect sense as a topic for his special. And I even think it would be valid for him to use that story to jump off into that. I just think he probably shouldn't have used her name.
Yeah, but I'm like, listen, because look, if he was stealing material, then I would have a fucking real huge problem with it.
Sure, yeah.
But him embellishing stories, I don't know. I mean, maybe using her name was a mistake. Or maybe he was maybe that's how he felt. Maybe he felt like that's what it was. Maybe that is what it was, and she don't want to admit that. I mean,
sure.
I can't tell you how many times I've told white people they being racist, and they were like, "No, I'm not. No, it wasn't." You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I mean, why is this news?
Brian, calling a white person racist is the real racism.
Exactly. Why is this news though? This is what I'm trying to figure out. This is in CNN, The Hollywood Reporter, the AV Club, the New Yorker. Like, why is this? What is going on here? That this is such a huge story.
Is it trying to distract us from real shit?
Yeah, I don't understand this. It's like it's funny, but unless I don't know, man. I guess it was explained to me like it was some kind of bombshell. Like, yo, have you heard? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a huge problem with this. I do understand why some people might be upset, and of course, I'm the ultimate ultracrepidarian. I have not looked into this whatsoever.
I think the issue is that the type of person who reads the New Yorker, which is like a white, overeducated liberal, this is probably shocking to them.
Yo, I think the competition for who's going to host the Daily Show is getting stiff.
Ooh, good point.
And I think one of the other potential candidates or one of their sleazy agents put this out to make sure it wasn't Hasan.
That makes sense, dude. That makes the most sense out of any.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense to me because this seems like a nothing burger, but it is negative press. So it can, in those kinds of rooms, especially the fucking idiots at Comedy Central, it affects the way they see people. Right. I shouldn't say. I'm not saying everyone at Comedy Central is an idiot, but y'all know who they are. All right, one more, and then I got to get out of here. All
right.
Email. All right. Can we shoot it? Hey, Brian, my name is Jake. I've seen you on JRE a few times, and I'm a fan of you and a fan of your comedy. I just started listening to your podcast and wanted to know, do you like first-person shooters? No. I mean, I don't dislike first-person shooters, but I play a lot of shooters. I do, but my reflexes have slowed down over the years, and I played a lot more FPSs on console, and since I switched to PC, funnily enough, I guess Overwatch is a first-person shooter. I play a lot of that, actually, so yeah, it's true. But it's not really a shooter, Yeah,
it's like a team deathmatch.
Yeah, and it's like, and a lot of the people don't even have guns. They have other stuff. So, Reinhardt doesn't have a gun. Mora doesn't have a gun. Symmetra has a gun. Actually, almost everyone has a gun, now that I think about it. Mercy technically has a gun.
Who's the one with the giant hammer? They don't have a gun, right?
That's Reinhardt. That's the first one I said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Damn, now that I think of it, I'm hard-pressed to think of people that don't have guns. Some ability to shoot a projectile is what I'm saying. But my point is,
but that is a different sort of game than like a Warzone or.
Correct. I've not gotten into Warzone. I'm afraid that if I did, I would be fucking really, really into it. So I've kind of stayed away from it. And it's a lot right now. It's a lot of shit going on. That I'm glad I'm too far behind to get into it. But I'm not anti first person shooter. That's just not quite my bag. I like games, fantasy games, Magic, Wizards, etc. Diablo 4. That sort of thing.
There was that Magic FPS that you played a little bit of, but you said it didn't really hold your interest.
It didn't.
Immortals of Avernum or something like that.
Yeah. That game. It had unskippable cutscenes, and I stopped playing it.
Yeah, fuck that.
I was so fucking sick of it. I was so fucking sick of having to sit through the cutscenes in that game. It was crazy. So. Yeah, and wait a minute. I'm pretty sure. I think I have a surprise thing for you, Rob.
Oh,
or by that I mean something that I forgot to put in the Trello.
Mm-hmm.
So one last little thing. Jury selection for officers who were part of Elijah McClain's arrest. Now, if y'all remember that, Elijah McClain is the young sweet boy that was shot in, where was this? Aurora, Colorado? Yeah.
Yes.
And basically for just walking down the street. Like he wouldn't bother nobody, and it was like, and you know how, as much as they tried, they couldn't find nothing on this man. He was such a sweet kid, always. Like, all they could find is pictures of him playing the violin to, like, homeless cats and shit. Because every time they shoot a young black man, like, the Candace Owens of the world, they immediately start looking for, how many times he got sent to the principal's office and shit like that so they can not feel anything, And they couldn't find nothing on this young man. Anyway, it's been 5 years since this incident happened. The police put him in a chokehold. Said he was getting aggressive. He said he couldn't breathe, and the paramedics injected him with ketamine to try to sedate him, which killed him. And I didn't even know they could do that. And actually, I don't think they can. And so everybody on trial, the cops and the fucking paramedics. But it took 5 years. So even bring the trial? Oh, because the local DA dropped the charge, like decided not to charge nobody. And then the governor had to appoint a special prosecutor to even charge these people. You know? Because for some reason, some people think, some cops and some people in authority think that if they kill you, they could just go, oopsies.
Well, do you remember the first autopsy report?
No.
The first autopsy report claimed that McLean had showed, quote, agitated behavior and enhanced strength during the struggle on the night of August 24th, that they were characteristic of excited delirium, which is a completely made-up thing and not recognized by the American Psychiatric Association or the World Health Organization. They said this guy was a supervillain and had to be killed. He had mutant powers.
Yeah, and what's the deal with paramedics injecting you with ketamine?
That's crazy to me.
Is that the go-to sedative?
I've never heard of that, but that doesn't mean they don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, but that seems like a crazy thing to give somebody without their permission. And you know what's so fucked up is I'd love to know what Russell Brand thinks of it. That's going to be our episode of BS with Brian Simpson. Remember, if you want to support the show, click on the link in the descriptions to buy something from one of the sponsors, or share, subscribe, comment, argue. I don't give a fuck. Actually, I like these audio onlys, but we will be back up in full swing next week. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want advice from the advice champ, email me at bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com. That's bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com. And come check me out. I'm going to be in at Skankfest and then in Chicago at Zanies. Go to briansimpsoncomedy.com for tickets.